this point, it's just me and MJ out here. Trust me, ain't nobody else doing what I'm doing. 'Cause greatness ain't just about being the best. It's about being willing to go where no man has gone before, doing what others are unwilling or afraid to do. So while everyone at home chillin', packing a bowl and what have you, thinking about the security of their 401k, which is gonna nosedive when the market crashes, me and MJ out here. We out here. And I was going by the AMC, and every time I go by there, I point at the target sign. I actually believe there are energy portals all around the world. I mean, there has to be, right? Like the pyramids, it's believed by many were specifically placed where they are in conjunction with the stars. So there has to be some energy behind it. Even everyday things, I figure there's an energy behind it. Why can't it exist the way it does? That's why every time I cross this AMC on my bicycle, I always point to the target sign as if it is an energy portal. Maybe it's just my imagination. At the very least, I can put it in my film, Around the World in San Francisco. So I created a new term. It's called the Omega male. In contrast with the Alpha male, Omega is the last letter of the Greek alphabet. This coincides with what Jesus Christ said, and the first shall be last, and the last shall be first, as well as the adage, he who laughs last laughs loudest. The Omega male is indifferent to status games, mind games, and the like, always putting others first before himself, treats others' suffering as his own. In the face of material or personal loss, he only smiles and finds joy in it. He is someone whose vision in his mind will manifest in the real world. There are probably only about 3,000 Omega males in the world at a given time. Zeus was an Omega male. He was actually a real person in history. Later on, people mythologize his story. And what I respect about Bob Dylan is that sometimes you just gotta be fucking loud, or else no one's gonna pay attention to you. And everyone wants to be liked nowadays. They want to get likes, but he was like, I don't like you and you don't like me, and I don't care if you don't like me. Basically, he was Eminem before Eminem. And I was listening to Starry Night by Don McLean, and that's a special song about Vincent van Gogh. I studied in Paris, France, and remember walking along the Seine River one night. I went to the Louvre Museum another day and saw that Vincent had made a painting he titled Along the Seine, and it depicted a person walking alone along the river. I thought that was me there. I saw myself in that painting, just looked at it for 45 minutes or so and doodled some lyrics that it inspired in me. It's interesting the sacrifice that these great artists of history have made. Many of them live quite tortured lives just to be themselves and express themselves. I think that's not right. After all, they give so much meaning and beauty to society. It's a shame that they're only honored and revered in death. So that's one of my hopes with Aquarius 3E, is to provide a path for the great artists, those misunderstood ones that society casts away. Actually, I met a young man in the streets around the world in San Francisco the other day. He was homeless, but he had a YouTube page with his paintings on there. One of his videos had more than 100,000 views. I believe that his gift is still there. He just fell off the tracks for one reason or another. There's a lot of people like this out there. And I do think I've reached Anne Frank's status. What I mean by that is the pain I went through was so immense. I feel like I've already passed away. My writing is so honest and truthful, so I have no fear in my writings. What could a dead man be afraid of after all? And it'd be an interesting study to see the correlation between pain and creativity, particularly the pain of the jaw, which I dealt with. Also came into 50 Cent's story. He was shot in the jaw, and Kanye West, who broke his jaw in a vehicular accident. So I think Bank of America will be the first big bank to fall. They have the 8th largest short position on AMC. From what I've heard, they're already closing branches. And it's kind of indicative of our time. The Bank of America is trying to drive the American movie company out of business. And I went to the Giants game, and I really feel like with my jacket and my hat and kind of how I look and walk, that I look like the owner of the San Francisco Giants. It's like way cooler than Larry David and more down to earth than the billionaires who never had a real conversation in their lives. You know, and in the future, a lot of people will say, "Dang, Mike, I didn't know you were going through that. How could you endure through that and still be smiling the whole time?" And I'll say, I'm not sure. I just kept moving forward in constant motion. That was the driving force behind what I did, was pain. And I knew that God never gives challenges to people that they can't overcome. And truthfully, if Aquarius 3E was to be as great as I believed it'd be, I'd have to pay for it somehow. I'd have to go through something impossible. And I think Aquarius 3E can be like Tekashi 6ix9ine. After all, there are numbers in both of the names, and the content is unique, but mine is more subtle, more in your face, but in a righteous way. I'll take that path all day, long and sustained success. I'll be doing this thing as long as heaven allows me. If I live to 100, I'll still be doing it. And truth be told, from a higher level, we see that it's just karma. Sickness happens to people when their karma is great. Medicines can only do so much. Didn't I explain this to you all? Science has become a religion with prophets, Fauci, and a messiah, the jab, a savior for mankind. But those things are man-made. They cannot really root out the karma. Only by raising the moral standard of society can that change. I told you all, Belichick is a fat phony. Benched Malcolm Butler for a heated exchange with Matt Patricia, another fat phony. Look, just because he has a beard and wears his hat backward doesn't make him a wise person. I'd argue that the Patriots' success is mostly due to Brady's energy that he infused in there, and the low playing field in the NFL. They had the Jets, Bills, and Dolphins in their division, at least 5 easy wins a season there. And the only real threat to them was Peyton Manning that whole time. And now we understand the sacrifice that Edward Snowden made. An article appeared, FBI raid at NSA employee's home reveals over 16 million dick pics. He saw what was going on. He must have said, "This isn't right. Look at this NSA database. It's just dick pics and 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 dick pics. Our founding fathers didn't sacrifice everything so that our dick pics could be stolen and stored in some database. I'm gonna blow the whistle on this." And so that's why he's in Russia now. Probably has everyone's dick pics still with him. And then this Forbes article said, study shows people working from home are having sex, dating, taking naps, and doing side hustles on company time. So I said, is that what you dirty dogs have been up to? Is that what you dirty digglers have been up to? Oh, so now I see what the libtards' plan was all along. Make the bacteria thing bigger than it was to make working from home mandatory so you could do the slurp-a-derp all day. Well played, libtards, well played. Well, if it fosters productivity, then by all means, keep at it. And on Polk Street, I walked by a man who was doing fentanyl. That fentanyl, or that Fenty as it's called. They call it in the streets. That's some powerful and smelly stuff. That's one part of the Around the World in San Francisco story that'll garner respect and attention. These streets ain't for the meek. Any day could be your last in the jungle. But that's how I ride. Life or death. On the line every day. Don't look back. Ain't got nothing to lose. Like a rolling stone. What does a dead man have to fear? And I think the Beatles have the best story, them and Bob Dylan. Those are the two primary story arcs of that generation, and their work has shaped Western and world culture more than anyone else. Well, that's all I have to say on this episode of Around the World in San Francisco. As you can tell, these are writings. These are things that I've written down over the course of a few days or maybe a week or so. And all of these writings, I'm going to compile them and they're going to become part of a book, my story. But as I'm riding my bike and I'm making these videos, I'm sharing with you these writings. So it's like I'm practicing and you guys get to hear my voice and hear my thoughts and my ideas. So it's all a work in progress. I'm improving every day the best I can. I work a lot. Today I rode my bike like 70 miles or so. You know, that's a lot. That's a lot of miles. And I'm enjoying what I'm doing. I'm at 23,562 miles or so now. So almost at 25,000, which would be literally going around the world in San Francisco. And if you think I'm going to stop there, no, I'm not going to stop there. I'll keep going however long I can go. Maybe at that point, I'll create the story to the moon in San Francisco. I don't know how many miles it is to the moon, but that's how many miles I'm willing to ride my bike so that my story gets heard, because I think it's a remarkable story. I think it's going to be the main story arc, the primary story arc of our generation, you know, because there's just so many things going on in my story. Took an incredible amount of courage. It's been an incredible journey, you know, to get to this point. And now to kind of be able to synthesize it, and I'm at an age and maturity where, you know, I can put it all together financially, you know, story-wise, location-wise, you know, where I am in my personal life. All of the things are lining up where, you know, I'm pretty stable, and the world is waiting for, you know, someone like me to appear that can kind of stabilize and give hope to society and help rectify a lot of the things that have gone astray in the world. You know, you need people like that. You need people like me to do those things. And yeah, there's going to be a lot of pushback and hatred, right? A lot of that is because if people themselves never achieve greatness, or they never get the most out of their own abilities, they use their energy to bring down others who are doing that, right? They couldn't unlock their own abilities, so they're using what abilities they have to bring others down. And that's okay, because at the end of the day, hatred, you know, it's just a weird way of saying, you know, that they really love you, that they actually wish that they were you. That's really what it is. It's like the girl who is mean to the boy that she really likes, you know, in elementary school. That's how it works. Anyway, as you can see, you know, I'm changing up the camera angles here too. I'm using a selfie stick with the GoPro, but I'm gonna start like see if I can attach it to my bike, so then I can like talk straight to the GoPro. See how that works. So anyway, thanks again, everyone. You have a wonderful day. We'll see you on the next episode of Around the World in San Francisco.